What's up guys, so in this video we are going to create this kind of live wallpaper effect created procedurally inside of Blender. So let's get started. Alright, so right here I am in Blender 4.1. So first of all, let's delete this cube and add in a UV sphere. Let's shade this smooth and go into geometry nodes, put a new geometry node here and add in a set position node. So why I need a set position node is I want to alter the position of the points on this sphere or the vertices over this sphere based on a noise texture. So I will just plug in a noise texture here. I will just use the color value because I want the RGB affecting the offset, the XYZ coordinates of the vertices, position of the vertices. Let's go into front view and let's press Ctrl Alt 0 to bring the camera right here. Select the camera and let's adjust this camera a little bit somewhat so that this design is approximately in the center of this. So at the moment you can see that this sphere is like offset around. If I go into front view, so this sphere is not in the center. If I remove this, you can see the sphere is perfectly in the center. The origin point is matching with the world horizon. But if I plug this to the offset value, the origin is getting somewhat shifted. What I want is I want this to be recentered. So I will just add in a vector math node, set this to subtract and just put 0.5 value here. So from all of the axes, the position of this origin is getting subtracted by 0.5, so it will be recentered back. Let's go into camera view and now adjust our camera a little bit more. And what I want is if I go into this 4-dimensional view, then I can play with this W value to use this second scene time value. I will plug in the scene time node and seconds output to this W value, and if I play the animation, you can see that this is animating and we are having a kind of changing effect here. But this effect is like really enhanced, and so we want the scale to be reduced down. So where this design is like not changing into sharp edgy kind of stuff, it should be comparatively smaller, smoother I would say. And then just decrease the detail value and increase the roughness a bit. You can add more detail, just press Ctrl 1 and add a subdivision surface modifier. Make sure to put it before the geometry nodes. Pretty much the modeling stuff we want. Now let's move into the shading of this world around this sphere and the shading of this sphere itself. Okay, now let's move to the shading part, and first of all, we will shade the world around this. And let's go into the rendered view. The render is set to AV. Make sure you are check this ambient occlusion, bloom, screen space reflections. In performance, check high quality normals. Let's go into color management and select this to AGX and let's set this to very high contrast. First of all, remove this background from here. Add in a gradient texture and I will just change this to a diagonal value. And if you have this in edit preferences, if you have enabled this add-on, if I search for node wrangler, make sure this add-on is enabled and save your preferences. Press Ctrl T and you will get this texture coordinated mapping node, and just connect this object to this vector. Just add a color ramp here and let's select this to somewhat like a pinkish reddish kind of color. Let's complement this with a purplish blue kind of texture. Maybe this is fine. And let's control the position of this. It's pretty much eyeballing things around and just seeing what is looking more perfect to you. I want some black tone to be added to this, so I will just select this to a black one and let's add in another black. So this will be perfectly be in this zone. So let's change this to a yellow light. First of all, we will change the material of this as well, and now let's talk about the material of this thing as well. Let's go into object view and have a new material right here, and let's set this roughness to really low value. We don't want any of the specularity from this object, so let's bring this to 0, and we want this to be transparent, so let's check the transmission value to 1 and a little bit of coat value as well, so that there is some material over this. Let's decrease the roughness of this, so you can see now we have a shiny kind of material. Let's go into the preview of this. So what I want is like I want these faces, back faces to be, I will just scroll the mouse down and just check the back face culling and change this to alpha blend. And the moment you do this, you have this kind of jagged shadows appearing here. So you don't want any shadows, so check that to none. Now let's go back to the world settings. And now let's add another kind of flavor to this thing here. We want this world to be emitting light. Instead of putting directly this into the world output, I will use emission shader here. Maybe increase this emission a bit. Obviously it's looking great. Now I want some turquoise kind of light be coming from here. So there is some highlight over this. So either you can add in a lamp here, or you can just copy this node setup, bring this another emission shader here, plug this into the strength value and bring this to a mix shader and combine these two and bring this to the surface. So what I have here is I just want these colors to be changed. So just remove these nodes here and change this one to turquoise kind of light. And what I want is like I want only this turquoise light but not the other color, that is the red color. So I will just change this to a black value and let's just adjust this thing right up here. So you can play with these values and then check for yourself. I have already like figured out these values, and see for yourself which looks best. So now I can just change this to linear and bring this somewhat right here. I think this is looking good. That's all fine. Select diffraction also. Let's add a solidify modifier here. Just bring this before the geometry nodes. And as if you can manually adjust the position of this light here, which is set to area, and you can adjust this according to the look you want and the reflection you want on this sphere. And now if I play this animation, you can see this, we are having a really nice kind of effect going on. What I want is a bit more detail added to this. Let's put in a magic texture here. I want this mix shader, this factor value, if I go all the way down to 0, I am having this shader here. If I go all the way to 1, I have this second one shader being applied here. So I want a mask over this factor value, so I can have control over these two effects by the mask, which will be our magic texture. So let's press Ctrl T over this, bring this a little bit up, plug in this object value to here. If I press Ctrl click this, I have this thing going around in the magic text. What I want is, I want this effect to be like really subtle. Try to have this a little subtle kind of effect like this, and maybe add a bit more depth to this, and let's see this what factor value is going. And I want this detail to be like animating also. If I add in here a noise texture, yeah, and then I am going to have this plugged into the distortion value, and maybe map this to around here, and then I can change this to 4-dimensional, and I can decrease the scale a bit, maybe increase the roughness and have some distortion over here. Yeah, this should be the vector position which is affecting. You can change these location, rotation and scale settings and get the look which you want for this magic texture. I play with the W value here. Maybe the scale is really, in this W value, I can divide the frame number by a high value to get really slow and steady animation with this magic texture. And yeah, so you have this effect now going on, and maybe I can control this a bit more by plugging in a map range node. Just plug it in here. So now what this will do, if I'm going to increase this becomes more of a brighter, and I will increase the black parts, and you can see you are having this animation right here, and you can render this stuff. So thanks for watching guys, hope you liked the video. Consider subscribing, and I have some plugins and assets or geometry node modifiers which I am selling on Blender Market. So the link is down in the description. If you want those modifiers, check out for yourselves and purchase them. The link is in the description. And if you want this blend file, you can download this blend file. The link is in the description. Thanks guys. Until next time.